live, and we are live. Um, I want to say thank you for everyone for tuning in for another episode of Grief. Let's talk about it podcast. And we have a very awesome guest, Val Walker. I've been known to pronounce the name wrong. I have. You know what I'm saying? I've done it before. But you guys, if you guys have been paying attention, and for those who have been paying attention, you guys have seen her on the introduction for the Global Grief Conference 2023, and so she's here to tell her of her journey.
Yes, I am. You cut out on me a little bit, Tony. I'm still waiting for you to come back in. Still waiting for you to come back in. I know you'll get in here eventually.
Yeah, eventually, man. Sometimes these things do happen.
The wind, the wind, the
And
wind
I
and
was, I was just
technology.
telling.
The
Oh
wind
my
and
God! It just
technology.
takes it does what it wants. It does what it wants, man. It really does.
Right.
And but I want to thank everybody for for those who are tuning in and everything. You know, Val is here to tell about her story about how she became a doula, and the work that she does and things like that. Val, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Tony, again for the opportunity to share what it is that doulas do.
Most definitely, most definitely. So can you tell people about where you're from?
I'm originally from Newport News, Virginia. I have been in the DMV area, which is the District of Columbia,
Mhm.
Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia since the 80s. So
Wow.
this is home. This is home away from home.
You know what? Not much change in DC from Virginia, though.
Not
For
too
those,
much.
not too much, man. It's definitely a different environment for those who do not know, right?
Exactly.
So
And driving in DC can be challenging. So a lot of people's like, no, I'm going to catch the train in.
when I was in DC, that's what we did. I caught the train everywhere. There was no
Uh-huh.
reason trying to drive nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And then plus everywhere I needed to go, you can just jump on the train and go.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, what I'm saying, Val and I are from the same area. You know what I'm saying, Newport News, Virginia. So we had a chance to sit down and talk about some different areas and stuff like that. So this is another sister from another mother, right? You know what I'm saying? And she's out of DC. So I've been out there as well. But her journey, her journey to becoming who she is right now is amazing. Val, you wanna share your story?
Sure. Thank you again, Tony, for the opportunity.
Of course.
My story starts with my mother. My sister was her primary caregiver in Atlanta, Georgia, in her last days, and to make a long story short, we transferred my mom. She decided that she didn't want to continue her dialysis. And so we transferred her to a hospice facility nearby on the word of the hospice representative at the hospital.
Mhm.
And when you are sitting or you're with a loved one during that time and you're the caregiver, you're the children, this is your parent, when a person mainly is talking to you, it's like I'd say the Charlie Brown teacher is wonk, wonk. You're processing so many things. Your emotions are
Right.
up and down. You're trying to retain information. Your loved one is making decisions that you may not have been prepared for. And so we transferred my mom into a hospice facility. Within 2 hours of her getting there, she was administered two powerful anxiety medications. We wasn't informed at the time that the medication may not allow her to wake back up. When you think about hospice, you think about hospice care. And when I tell this story, I often forget to leave out that this was our experience with hospice in Atlanta, Georgia. Since I've been back to Maryland, I have volunteered at a hospice facility that's absolutely wonderful, absolutely excellent. And if I'm here, in Maryland during my last days, that would be the hospice facility that I would go to. So not all hospice facilities are equal, and you need to do your homework. So going back to the hospice in Atlanta, Georgia, with the anxiety medication being administered, within an hour or two, we had some laughs with my mom, and my mom drifted into a sleep. The next day, when I went in to relieve my sister, my mom was still asleep. That night, my mom was still asleep. The next day, when I went in to relieve my sister, my mom was still asleep. The hospice RN or aide came in, and I said, is she gonna wake up? Well, when is she gonna wake up? And she looked at me unempathetically, if that's a word. I do make up words, so just roll with me.
Hey, we roll
Um, we from Newport News, we'll make up a word in a minute.
And you know what? Don't even get me started. I done made up so many words. I don't even have a
We have
dictionary
our
for some
own,
of
we
these
have
things.
our own language.
They don't know. They don't know. You know what I'm saying? As long as you understand what I'm saying, girl, we gonna make up a whole lot of words. They got words in the dictionary right now that we didn't have. Might as well
You know,
add some more to it.
I'm a detour just for a minute and come back to my story. But when I came up here in DC, I was used to say, I'm going to make groceries. And people was looking at me sideways like, you going to do what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the store to make groceries. Make groceries? That's
Mhm.
Newport News. You
Yeah.
know, now I learned to say I'm going to the grocery store to shop for groceries. But in
Nope.
Newport News, you say make groceries. We know what you're talking about.
Exactly. And you know what? I figure like this: if you don't understand what I'm saying, then we speaking totally different languages.
Or either ask me to
Yeah,
help
you know what I'm
you
saying?
for
Like, you want to make
clarification.
groceries? Like, yeah, I'm going to go make some groceries and stuff. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I need to make groceries so I can get them to the house so I can eat. You know,
Exactly.
but I get it though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You know,
it's an unspoken intelligence.
exactly. And different areas of the United States, we say things differently.
Well,
So as
yeah,
long as
like
you know what I'm
Dixon,
saying, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And
there,
if you don't
yonder.
ask me,
Think about that yonder, right? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go across yonder. Now you don't know how far yonder is. We just know it's over yonder.
and you'll be back eventually.
Eventually, right? You know what I'm saying? Because yonder could be like 10 miles. You may not be back till tomorrow because eventually you're going to get tired.
Exactly.
Y'all got to understand the lingo, girl. Look, y'all have to understand the lingo. This is what we do.
Just
Okay.
hang with us. Just hang with us.
Oh, you guys got to understand, you know what I'm saying? But those of you who are tuning in from the South and everything, I want to welcome everybody who is tuning in. Let us know where you're from in the comments. Show that support for Val. You know what I'm saying? She's going to get right back into, well, whenever she gets ready to, she's going to get back to her story. Right now, we having fun. All right? Right now, we having fun. So, just so you know what I'm saying? Newport News is a small area that a lot of people don't know nothing about. So to meet someone from my neck of the woods that possibly knows my family because there's no way, right? You know what I'm saying? Lassiter Courts, Marshall Courts, the bottom, 6th Avenue,
Right.
Lincoln Park, all of these different things. And see, I talk about these things and people actually look at me like I'm crazy.
I
I'm crazy.
graduated with some lynches, and I know, we didn't already talked about this. I do know some lynches from Lynchville, so I know we connected through lineage, through through family members.
You know
We
what?
just haven't did our research yet, but we'll
That's
get
all.
there
And when you
eventually.
find out, you might be like, I know him, that little knuckleheaded guy, or you know what I'm saying? I knew that because, like I said, it's 20. It was a lot of us. A
Yes.
lot of us running around Newport News, and you already know Newport News is not that big. You go out Newport News, you're right in Hampton. You know what I'm saying? Or Denby or something like that. You know, New
Right.
Market Mall. Everybody hung out at New Market Mall. Come on.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And don't let me talk about the McDonald's on Lassiter Avenue.
I ain't even messing with you no more, girl. I ain't even messing. You remember? Okay, so do you remember when McDonald's used to take the book food stamps?
No, I don't.
Oh, look, we
And I
used
don't know
to
why, because my mama probably had them at that time.
go hey, everybody down there have them. I still talk about the old the building where we used to go get our welfare food from, right? The
Mhm.
powdered milk and stuff like that. We used to go
Uh-huh.
over, which was the same spot. And I want to say it was off of Ivy Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Ivy Avenue, which used to
Mm-hmm.
be the Boys and Girls Club when I was a
Mm.
kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then we talk about, you know what I'm saying? We talk about the actual Boys and Girls Club, you know what I'm saying, off of Jefferson Avenue. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Look, Magruder Pool. People don't know nothing about these open pools out here,
I
bro.
used to walk to Magruder Pool
Oh,
from
you
Stewart
too?
Garden. From Stewart Garden, I got in the Stewart Garden residence out there.
Oh my God! See, this is what happens, y'all. I'm telling you, look, all these old memories and stuff like that. Like I said, like Newport News, they call it Bad News, Virginia. I remember Chick-fil-A. A lot of people don't even remember Chick-fil-A being down there. Oh, girl, you already.
Every time I go down there, I get a sweet potato pie.
Oh, girl, look, they don't even know they used to serve them up like that. You know what I'm saying? And they wonder why we was all fat. You can't give nobody a sweet potato pie and ask us to keep our pants buttoned up. Come on. You know
And
what I'm saying?
I've never seen a golden skillet outside of Newport News. Have you seen it in another state or?
Nope,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have not. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day, we used to have the old juke joint spots and everything like that. And I remember being as a child, running up in there, or the biggest thing, we used to run down to the store with the note. We used to run down the store with the note. Here's the note. And that man come back with a bag and go, you know what I'm saying? Like it was an easy transaction. We didn't have to
Right.
worry about too
That's
much,
when things were simple. That's when things were simple. And you and I have talked about Yock, Yock. People be talking about Yock now. No, y'all
People
not
always
getting Yock.
forget it.
Y'all not getting Yock.
It's not the same thing. See, with
And
y'all,
when the fried rice was black down there on Jefferson Avenue.
girl, look, we already know. We already know. You know what I'm saying? The skating rink, come on now. Well,
Yeah.
everybody hung out at the skating rink, but the York, now that's a different story. See, there's spaghetti that came after you that was trying to compete with York, but York is something different. All right. If I could explain it, I would say that it's heaven, right? Because you could throw chicken in there, you could throw shrimp in there, you
I'm
could.
not gonna even do this with you today. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna get back to my story.
You started this. You started this. No, you started this. I'm telling you already. This is the way this is working out. But you know what? If you guys are laughing with us, man, please, by all means, you know what I'm saying, put an LOL in the comments.
Yeah, yeah,
Let us know that you guys are rocking with us right now. But we're going to get back to the story. Val.
yeah, yeah. And this how me and Tony rocking. So this is gonna be like this for the next hour or
Oh,
so, depending on how long y'all have. Okay, so getting back to the story.
Yeah, let's get back to the story.
Empathetically. So I asked the RN or nurse, I said, is she gonna wake up or when is she gonna wake up? And she looked at me straightforwardly and said, sometimes they wake up and sometimes they don't. And when I say that, even now, and my mom passed in 2011, the hairs rise up like as if I'm a cat because it's like sometimes they wake up and sometimes they don't. I'm like, and I noticed at that point, Tony, that when I first went in, everybody in this facility was asleep.
Mm.
Everybody was asleep. My mom passed away 3 days later. And our last memory of her was the laughter that me and my sister had when we brought her in 4 days ahead of time. My brother is a pastor. He was en route, had a delay in his connecting flight. My mom passed 6 o'clock-ish on Memorial Day Friday. My brother got to her at 10:30. So she had already passed. Not being educated about hospice, not understanding what the plans are. A lot of times we knew we was going to bury my mom. We have a family cemetery in Lamar, South Carolina. They only have one light that tells you how big it is. The town is. So we knew all the preparations for where she was going to go. But we often have a space between when we have that diagnosis, when we have a fall, when we have a medical life event that changes us, and we are now looking for long term care or either immediately having short term care that requires more than a hospital stay. We don't have the plans for that. And so we didn't have the plans for my mom making the decision that she did not want to have dialysis again. And she woke up from a dream while she was in the hospital, and she said, Dad told me not to put that thing down my throat. Now, my mom was born in 1926. She's not going to know the word ventilator, but that's what she was talking about. And
Right, right.
so she elected to do that. And we knew at that point, um, that we had to transfer her to hospice. We told her we was transferring her to hospice, but I wasn't a doula at that time. I didn't. I came in one morning and I checked her pulse. Don't know why I did that. That's part of what a doula can do. Didn't know anything about vigil planning. Didn't know anything about bedside care. I talked to her right before she um, transition, told her we was going to be okay. I'm the baby of the family. She's always concerned, or have always been concerned with me. My brother and my sister are established. They're 13, 10 years in age apart from me. So I was the one that she was, primarily concerned with, in addition to her grandchildren and her great grandchildren. So, I let her know that everything was okay. And I think also in this space, there's a lot of spirituality that's going on, um, that you can feel, and you can also see as a doula if you are very aware of it. During that same day, I went in to wash my hands in my mom's room, and I felt a presence behind me in the upper left hand side of the room, even with my back turned. And I said, okay, I had called my sister to say, Mom's breathing has changed. Again, that's another sign, and a symptom of end of life nearing. Didn't know anything about that, but I called her. I said, Mom's breathing is changing. She said, okay, I'm going to get in there as soon as I can. That was probably about 2 hours prior to me having this spiritual experience of washing my hands. So I went to call my sister again when I came out of the bathroom from washing my hands. And my spirit said to me, everyone is here that needs to be here. And so I didn't call my sister again. I went to the edge of my mom's bed. That's when I was talking to her. My mom's eyes was closed, but she turned her head in the same location that I felt this spiritual presence of my uncles, my aunts, my grandmother, which is her mother, my grandfather, which is her father. I felt their presence almost like in a collage of faces. Didn't see it, but it was a strong, strong feeling. And my mom motioned her head that way and she smiled. And after she smiled, she took her last breath. And I knew she was okay. So I often say in my story, after I tell that story, that my mom's death birthed my destiny to becoming an end of life doula. Because I was in school doing business administration and gerontology, which is still working with the aging community. But it was definitely my mom's death that birthed my destiny. It's a gift. Actually, her birth, I look at it as a positive thing that she gave me the gift to be able to serve others who are at the end of life, to educate family members and caregivers, and to prompt us to prepare for end of life so that we can, I don't use the term a good death, but so that we can prepare to have a better death. And so that's my story, and that's how I like to share it.
I love it, man. I definitely, excuse me.
Hmm.
Like I said, these allergies are kicking up. It's starting to get
I
warm.
know. I know. It's the
You know what I'm
same
saying?
here.
Yeah, it's a constant fight. You know what I'm saying? For those who suffer with allergies, like hey, forgive me. It sounds pretty gnarly, but I am okay. But no, thank you for sharing that story, man. Amazing, amazing journey. And like I said,
Hmm.
we talked before, and you know, being a I'm not a doula. I'm actually looking forward to getting my certification and to becoming a doula.
Hmm.
And I know there's so many different facets, and like we talked one time before, I was telling my cousin there's so many different doulas out there. You have to be specific in what you're asking for,
Right.
you know, and the field that you're in, and being a doula that you are, what is it entailed in being a bedside or death doula?
So let me just say that you don't necessarily have to have your certification. The role of a doula has been in existence since the ancient time. And when we refer back to doula back during those times, the reference or the references for the birthing doula, um, which is a doula who sits by a professionally trained doula. At that time, nobody was professionally trained. Certifications wasn't even there. You did what you had to do to help that baby be delivered from the mom.
Hmm.
Um, and so it was the birthing doula has led our way as far as our model of being a doula. Eventually, the role was recoined and is still reworded, or I don't want to say redefined, as a professional trained individual who help family members and their client or the individual during, before, and after the birth of a baby.
Hmm.
Then there's a spinoff of an end of life doula who does the same thing. And all of us support the holistic model: physical, psychological, spiritual, emotional. It's just that the end of life doula is at the end of the bookend. The birthing doula is the first bookend. The end of life doula is the second bookend at the end. And so, as the birthing doula is helping the mother bring forth life, the end of life doula is helping life transition to wherever it's going to at the next generation or the next destination. And so, that's what the end of life doula actually does. You don't need to have a certification. I've been an end of life doula since 2016. I have never had anyone say to me, do you have your certification? Or I don't want to hire you because you don't have your certification. Now the word or the role is becoming more in the mainstream because of news and media and because of COVID, unfortunately.
Oh
So
yes.
eventually, yeah, eventually we may have people saying or demanding that certification. But right now we have so much education in front of us about the role of an end of life doula that I think it'll be a while before individuals start, or the public or the clients or the patients start demanding for certification.
Let's see. I mean, I've been looking at both of them because I've been looking at wanting to get certified as a doula.
Hmm.
Since I have been in those situations, during, like you said, during COVID, right?
Hmm.
I watched so many people pass away from from COVID, and I don't know, whatever people think about it. Hey, that's what you want to think. I can only speak from the things that I've seen, um,
Right.
and personally. And so it was like, after sitting bedside with so many people during quarantine and hospice and things like that,
Hmm.
um, it was just like, is this something that I want to be a part of? Because I've been there, right? I've been there, and I watched people take their last breaths, including my son and my mother,
Right.
and several other people, right? So I, even though those were the ones that defined me, there was so many others that compiled into it, and I never understood that sort of work before.
Yeah.
Like, or why I didn't feel a certain way about it, right?
Hmm.
Why did somebody die? You should be in shock. You should be, you know and I think that's where I love your gift at, because it helps you understand. Most people will look at a situation like that and go, wow, and be traumatized. Whereas you look at the situation and go, this is a beautiful transition for you.
Yes. and a gift. And I didn't realize there was so many different types of doula. That's what you asked me about.
Yes.
So, I mean, there are postpartum doulas, which are doulas who sit with the family, the new mom and the new dad, to help them with the child um, caring aspect of that new baby. You know, you have women that still have hormonal issues during that time. They're overwhelmed with the new baby. Their schedules have changed. The baby is not sleeping. Now they're up during their time and they're up during the baby time. So
Yeah.
you have postpartum doulas that help with that transition of trying to make the motherhood, the new mother and the new dad, transition to this new bundle of joy.
Understand? Hey, I definitely understand. Having had a couple kids myself, I would have
Hmm.
to actually say my son was the hardest one because he did not like to sleep. He wanted to be up while you were supposed to sleep and wanted to sleep while everybody was at work.
Exactly.
I was like, look, this does not work. This is the reason why we cut the lights
I
off.
need us to get on the same accord.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So we could, we need to work out something, right? But also, even with those beautiful memories, um, I remember the day that he passed away. There was a lady that came in, and I think the thing was, I want to say that she was a doula,
Hmm.
um, but I didn't like her approach that she had on me because the first thing that she did was came up and tried to grab my hand,
Hmm.
and I looked at her and I pulled away. I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like,
Right.
"Well, I just want to make sure." I was like, "I didn't ask you
Hmm.
to touch me.
Right.
Like, I just lost my son. You really sure you want to touch me?"
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But I understand now. Now being in this sort of work, it's like the mindfulness or the training, and,
Hmm.
and and that's the reason why I was asking about it, because there are people that get trained in doing this, but I don't think they have the lived experience, to have the mindfulness to be in the same situation or in the same room as someone grieving, which I think that's where it sets you apart, because you do have that lived experience, you
Uh,
know and maybe it's just me, maybe it was just her approach, I don't know.
yeah. I think a lot of people in this field, I don't want to say a lot of people, I'm not speaking for all doulas, I'm just speaking for myself, but a lot of people want to, and again, I've used the word a lot of people, but some doulas want to get into it for the fab of it all, the
Yes.
popularity of it all. Some doulas want to get into it, and then when they realize that they are sitting at the bedside in quietness, they can't handle it. Um, some people are fixers, and so as a doula, we run in and we feel like we have to rescue people that's in that situation because we think we understand how they feel, and we don't, because my lived experience with my mom is not the same lived experience you had with your son.
Mhm.
Yes, both of us have encountered death, but your situation and my situation is totally different.
Right.
Me
Yeah.
running in to grab your hand is not going to help me fix any emotional um, events or any emotional issues that you are having with your son. So, me running in to say, "Are you okay?" If you tell me you're not okay, that's not my lived experience. So what can I do to help you? The
Right.
only thing I can do, I can't fix it for you. The only thing I can do is sit there in a non-judgmental way, which is one of the models aspect of an end of life doula, without judging you. And I think a lot of people get into this field um, realizing and learning that they are fixers, and learning that, okay, I can't fix this situation. All I can do is sit here and be non-judgmental and listen to the story and see what I can do as far as resources, or what I can do to just listen to what this individual is telling me without fixing the situation. And
Mm.
so, people have to learn that, and that is taught in training. I am a educator for INELDA, which is the International End of Life Doula Association. They did not pay me to do that commercial, but I just wanted to let people know that I am educated, and that's one of the things that we educate on, to not fix things, to not go into a situation to fix things, to leave your stuff, I was going to say your mess, your junk, on the other side of the door and go in with a clean slate with just listening ears, um, to be open to what the person is sharing with you and not to go in to try to fix things. When someone is at the end of life and they have a terminal diagnosis, what is it that you think you can fix as an end of life doula?
Right.
There's absolutely nothing you can fix. I have 6 months. I'm in hospice. I have 6 months. God willing, maybe I'll get 9 months. Maybe I'll get another year. But what is it that you think you get ready to do to change the course for me? I
Right.
just need you right here to go along with this experience with me without judging what I feel from moment to moment. That's what I need you to do as an end of life doula.
Right. And somebody just left a comment up there that said, "Yes, we're there to be present, and we are not fixers." And and that's the truest things. Like, you cannot fix your grief.
Right.
You have to learn from your grief, and you have to heal from your grief. But
Mm-hmm.
most of all, you have to know how to move forward in your grief. So you can be able to process those things. And like I said, I didn't when the lady came out and did that, because my son's mother was there too, and so she had walked off when she seen the lady. I had no idea who she was or anything like that, and the first
Mm-hmm.
thing that she did was to grab my hand, and my first instinct was to punch her. Like,
Right.
I don't know
Mm-hmm.
you.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
don't, no introduction whatsoever. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the doctor ran off, she comes in, and it was just like these sequence of events. But something told me that she didn't mean any harm by that. But
Oh,
I
I'm
did,
sure. Yeah.
she
Yeah.
did. This was almost 7 years ago,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
right?
sure. I'm sure she didn't.
Right. Well, things weren't so profound as they are now, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we talk about grief and mental health and all of these different things. Back then, we no one talked about it. It was a very few far in between conversation.
Right.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and when COVID happened,
Mm-hmm.
the things that we were trying to tell people finally came out into the forefront. So when we think about that experience and how things have grown on such a huge level right now, I think it's a beautiful thing, because you have more people coming out like yourself, with this experience, and going, you know what, I'm here to comfort you as you transition. But
Yeah.
the different levels of it, man, just amazes me.
And Tony, I've supported someone for over a year. I started out volunteering for her through the hospice facility that I was telling you about. I was her
Mhm.
companion at that time, and eventually, she was in her 90s, and eventually she had a fall, and she transferred from her independent living apartment to a hospice, into a house that offered hospice care.
Okay.
Now, when you have the time during that time frame, and even 6 months or 3 months as a doula, we're taught to have a professional boundary.
Mhm.
Um, but you also have to find a balance of having a connection to a person, because it's a give and take situation. You have to establish some type of trust if
Right.
you
Yes.
are asking this person to share with you things that they may have never shared with anyone else, and you're sitting there listening. So how can I walk up to you and grab your hand when I haven't even established a relationship with you?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And like I said, as a man, like, I knew nothing about that. I just knew that in that moment. And I think that's where it kind of threw me off, because most people, that saw me after the incident had happened,
Mm-hmm.
it was maybe about 10 minutes after my son had passed away. So
Mm-hmm.
I had just literally watched my son take his last breath.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, and now I'm full of rage. And like I said, maybe,
Right.
maybe she wasn't understanding of the situation, but it could have it almost turned really bad,
Mm-hmm.
because now, here I am at 313 pounds. I'm not,
Right.
I'm angry.
Mm-hmm.
So can you imagine watching your child, or watching someone that you love pass away, the anger that fills up your body? You're pumped, you're ready to destroy everything around
Right.
you.
Right.
And so to have this individual come up and grab me, my first instinct was, oh no, I don't,
Right.
I'm about to give you one of these across your face, but
Mm-hmm.
then, I was raised not to hit women.
Right.
And so that's what that's what really stopped me, because first when she grabbed me, I was like, and I looked and I had to catch myself, and I went,
Mm-hmm. Who
and
are
so
you?
yeah, and I pulled away from her. And the first thing I did was like, don't touch me anymore. And
Right.
she went to go say something. I was like, I don't even know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you talking to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she kind of stood there, kind of, and I hate to say this word, but she kind of stood there kind of dumbfounded. Like she
Mm-hmm.
didn't know where to go from there. And
Mm-hmm.
the next thing I knew, I just walked back in the room, and she was standing out in the hallway. My
I think we lost Tony. We just have to wait for him to come back. Hopefully he will come back. I'm not sure if I'm alive, still alive or not. I am alive. I'm not sure if I'm still alive or not. So we'll wait on Tony. If I am still alive, there are other doulas. Okay, Tony, you back.
Yeah,
I
it
was
dumped
gonna
me
try
off.
to
I
keep
don't
it
know what
rolling.
happened. I was like, okay, I'm not quite sure what just happened here. Sorry to leave you up there by yourself on a solo. I'm pretty sure you was holding your
I
own.
kept it I kept it rolling.
I saw that. I saw it when I jumped back on. I was like, how you just gonna dump me off? What is wrong with you?
I'm like,
You
okay,
know,
I didn't know Tony didn't tell me I was gonna be hosting the
hey,
podcast.
you know what? Sometimes we just gotta we have to be very diverse in our approach, okay?
But I was getting ready to name a couple of doulas, Tony. Of course, there's
Okay,
there's
go ahead.
pet doulas sitting with um, pet owners who have had, who their animals are transitioning. I supported a friend last year who cat was at the end of life. He called me at 12 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
The pet was going to be put to sleep and he needed support. So you have your pet doulas, you have doulas who are supporting the LGBTQIA community. You have abortion doulas, you have miscarriage doulas. And I didn't realize that was that many types of doulas that are out there. And I'm
Yeah.
sure this is going to continue to grow. And I encourage it to grow.
Mhm.
Find your specialty, find what your call is as an end of life doula, and make sure you have what you need inside of you to support the person. And if you don't, then just learn what you need to do. Like Tony just gave you his example of just walking up and grabbing, without establishing um, a relationship. And Tony, now that I'm thinking about it, there may even need to be a doula specifically for men
I
because we may need to learn how to approach you all differently because you're not open. First of all, we don't United States ain't talking about positive death is infrequent more than frequently.
yeah.
UK we okay, but United Kingdom we okay, but our conversation of making it not a big thing is not it's more of a big thing when we start to talk about it, and some of our beliefs are connected with that, but you
Mhm.
know learning how to approach men when it comes to the conversation of death and dying may be something that we need to look into.
Yeah. Well,
And it would help if more men got into the field, so I'm happy that you are thinking about doing this, because then you'll be able to support another male, another brother where I may have all the experience, but he just may not be open to me as far as having that conversation where he would
Right.
be open to you.
Right. And I'm all for that right there.
Hmm.
I would love to be a male death doula, so that we can have men to approach other men, because like I said, when the young lady came up on me and the first thing that she wanted to do was grab, I understand it's a sense of comfort, right?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm not in a place of comfort right now. I'm in a place
Right.
of anger. So,
Hmm.
as a male, I know what my approach now that I do this sort of work and I
Hmm.
work with men. I would love to become a male death doula
Yeah.
because, I can do the one thing that I wish someone else would have done to me when it happened, having a male walk up to me and go,
Hmm.
and just be there and just, my approach would be sort of different. But I do believe that there should be more men to step up. And I know
Yeah.
you've talked to Jay Lewis as well, and he's
Exactly.
looking to get certified as a doula. And I
Yes.
was just like, you know what, this is on to something.
Yeah. And I think Jay is going to be, I'll be teaching in the month of May and the month of June, as far as I know. So Jay and I stayed on the phone for like over an hour and a half,
Mhm.
talking. Actually, you kept interrupting us, so I'm gonna have to talk to you about that on the side. But anyway,
These things happen. He had questions, I
I'm
had
like, you know
answers.
what, Jay, tell him he needs to stop.
But look, I've been trying to tell him. He don't listen to me. I'm like, Jay, you on the phone with Valerie? Yes. Be on the phone with Valerie. I'll talk to you here in a bit, right? But but y'all have to understand, what I'm saying? When you guys hear us talk, we have a family of grief workers that, and that's exactly what it is. So if you can imagine a family of brothers and sisters from all walks of this grief world, um, supporting each other.
It's like a family reunion. It's like when
Yeah,
you go to a family reunion,
what was that?
everybody
Right.
hugging and talking and telling stories. Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. We do have our mama bears in the group, but far as us younger ones, we're
Hmm.
like siblings.
Yeah.
Oh, we talk trash to each other. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? We joke with one another. This is what we do, just so you guys know. All right?
Yeah.
This is what
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to see Jay in May or June,
Mhm.
and like you said, if more men, because with women we are nurturers naturally, so we from the birth of our children, they fall down, we grabbing them and hugging them and boo boo, you okay, and let mommy kiss it, to make things right. So all of that doesn't change just because we're now 50, 60, 40. And so when we see someone that is grieving or has just had a loss, it's an activity that we feel like we can fix or help in.
Right.
Where a man not gonna walk up to another man and say, "Oh, baby, or let me see what I can do to
Right.
help you." He's gonna be like, "Brother, you need to talk." Or what you need to talk. See, he's not gonna go in
Yes.
there trying to fix and nurture, because that's not naturally in the male's makeup where it
Right.
is in the woman's makeup.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is something that I've been trying to get across to some people, and I get it. Everybody has some people have a one approach to things. And I go,
Hmm.
you can probably get away with maybe 5% of the people that you talk to like that.
Hmm.
Right. You know what I'm saying? They'll probably go to you. But what about the other 95% that's not, like myself? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like before I got into this work and understanding the depth that it goes into, you know, it was like, I tried to understand it, but there was something that was out of place with it. Like
Hmm.
you're not going to approach me. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to approach me if you don't speak the same language as I do. And what I
Right.
mean by that, I'm ruled by my masculine nature. You know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
have a bunch of testosterone that runs through my body because
Right.
of my genetic makeup, right? Which
Hmm.
I am more prone in situations to become protective.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Over myself. And that means that I have to protect my mental health. I have to survive. I have to protect me from you.
Right.
And I don't want to feel that way. Now,
Hmm.
as a male, if the approach had been sort of different. You know what I'm saying? Walk up, like you just said before. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? I see that you, if you need to talk,
Mhm.
because less words that are spoken, the more that is heard when it comes to men.
Yes.
So, you know what I'm saying, understanding, how to approach a man and a woman. With a man, the less words that are spoken, the more is being said. With women, you know what I'm
We
saying?
need a hug. We
There
need
you
the
go.
hug.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to say it like that because I don't ever want to, you know what I'm saying, discriminate against anyone,
Yeah.
for who they are, or, or anything like that. So, I want to say that when it comes down to women, it's more emotional.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Men, we don't become emotional till later on down the line. So,
Mhm.
you have to be able to approach my masculine energy. You either have to be able to match it, you know what I'm saying? Or
Mhm.
you have to be able to make me back down. You're not
Right.
going to be able to make me back down, but you can match it.
Mhm.
Now, I say that because there's a diverse approach to that. You know what I'm saying? I know most people will like make you back down. And what I mean by that is that, make you get it. Well, not make you do anything, help you get out of your own head
Mhm.
in those few seconds that I have with you. And so, therefore, we can have a more productive conversation. And
Right.
I can understand my place in your, in your present moment with you.
And I think with men, you have a small space on approach to do that.
Exactly.
If you don't take the opportunity during that time that a man gives you that space, you you lost it. You've
Yes.
lost it. Where with women, we are still emotional.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
you're giving us a hug or we see the tears, that's our opportunity to
Mm.
come in. That's the space that we're working in. And if you don't match that with us, then we're going to step back. So
Right.
you just need to know how to match your energy with what's going on with that person that you're trying to serve at that time, not the person you're trying to fix at that time, but the person that you're trying to serve at that time.
Oh man, I love that. I definitely love that because you was reading my mind right there. I was like, you can't fix this. This is
Mm-hmm.
not something to fix. You have to heal, right?
Right.
And we touched on COVID a little bit. Let's touch a little bit more on there because we talked a lot about this. COVID changed everything. Leading up to COVID, I want to say you was probably in that sewing group with us, as the rest of us, where we were like, we have a problem,
Right.
and no one was listening because it wasn't so pronounced, right? So
Right.
it
Right.
wasn't out there the way that it was. Lockdown, quarantine pushed everything to the forefront, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe that it gave us as grief workers an opportunity to do what we were called to do. Because before then we were spread out. Yes, we was doing our own individual thing, but
Right.
we were so spread out. It's not like the love that we have now, right?
Right.
Between one another, the collaborations and things like that. You know, how do you feel that COVID changed the way that you approach being a doula?
Oh, I have to breathe on that one. COVID. Mm-mm-mm. COVID put death in our face
Mm,
almost 24 hours a day,
yeah.
CNN, um, you know, 30, and I had just gotten off a cruise, Tony. I was on the Capital Jazz cruise. I
Okay.
got off January the 27th. I called my son. I said, I'm back on land. He's like, Mom, there's something going around called COVID. It's a virus or something. Just wanted to let you know. I said, okay. That was January the 27th. By February, ships were stuck at ports or at sea because
Mhm.
now they're restricted from coming in, um and now you're seeing the numbers: 10,000, 50,000 deaths,
Right.
100,000 deaths, 500,000 deaths. So now it's in our face. The
Mhm.
thing that we don't like to talk about is now in our face 24 hours.
Mm.
Now we can't sleep. Now we're afraid to go outside. Now we're afraid to cough. No, I don't want to be next to nobody. So all of this is playing in our face. The drama, the movie is playing in our face, playing
Mm.
out in our face. Um, I can't say all doulas are empaths, but there were times at night that I would lay down in the quietness of the night and cry for the 100,000 people I didn't know.
Wow.
Cry for the five. I mean, crying as if this is a family member that lives in my house. And I'm trying not to cry now. You have over 1 million souls that have left this earth. You have family members who have had 4 and 5, their whole family wiped out.
Mm. Yeah.
So just sit with that and the grief that's taking place during that time. Because my niche is advanced care planning or having an advanced directive in place if we have a medical emergency. Now I'm also impacted by that because I see families in the ICU on a ventilator. They can't communicate with their loved ones, which was similar to me unfolding my mother's story,
Mm.
internalizing my mother's story. They want to say their last words. They have to depend on a physician or a nurse who's already overworked because of the hours and the shortage, who are
Yeah.
also concerned about their family and their health. So they're dealing with their own mental health issues. Um, Trying to make the connection to have a phone call before they leave this earth. So now I'm impacted with all of that on me. And that's why I stress having an advanced directive in place so that someone can honor you just in case you have a medical emergency and not able to speak for yourself. And
Mm.
remember, it doesn't happen. COVID didn't just, at first it was the aging adults, right? Then
Yeah.
it was the middle age, then it was the teenagers. So you can be prepared at 18 to have things in place if you become unable to speak for yourself. And so I had all of that on me, understanding that people even can't communicate with their loved ones at the last hour, the last second, because they're on a ventilator and nothing has been put in place to honor them because no advanced directive was put in place prior to COVID-19. So COVID, and I really think COVID still has us um, living. Um, I think we're still off, to be honest with you. I just think we are still off. I don't think anything that can happen for 2 years um, cannot impact us as if we were before it happened. So
Right.
I think a lot of things that we're seeing on TV now, the anger in the children, the anger with school shootings, people not wanting to go back to work. I think all of that COVID is really impacting all of us and
Hmm.
all of our mental health. And we think we're okay, but I don't think we 100% okay. And I
I
don't know if we're going to ever get back to that.
Yeah, I actually know that we're not okay, right? So the and and this is I try to explain that this to someone, and because now that we're doing in-person meetings and things like that, I went to my very first in-person meeting probably about a month ago. It was a nice little fundraiser. I haven't been used to being around. Well, I've been used to being around people, but not in crowds like that. And people go, well, why not? I said because COVID. They was like, oh, COVID. And I was like, oh, let me just understand this. Just because you want it to be over, it's supposed to be over. But what about those people that are out there that are still being affected by it?
Mm-hmm.
So are we just supposed to go, oh, this is what happens?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's over. It's over. According to whom?
Mm-hmm. Right.
The only difference is that we don't talk about it more, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
when we talk about doing this grief work, you guys have to understand. We see the things that they don't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
We see those things that they don't tell. We still see the deaths.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We still see the families being impacted and things like that. So don't think that this thing, that you just wake up one day and the thing just went away just because you don't want to deal with it. You have to be mindful of these things, because regardless, there's people out there that are vaccinated, there's people out there that are not vaccinated. I don't care which one you do. You know what I'm saying? I made my choice and everybody else makes theirs.
Mm-hmm.
But just because you made those choices for you.
Right, right.
You
And
know,
and all of us are linked in humankind.
right.
So, I know someone who she was on my caregivers millennial event last year. She has COVID long haul, and she's the only child.
Wow.
She was also helping her parents, both parents elderly. All three of them had COVID at the same time.
Mm.
And two of them had the long haul COVID, if that's what they're calling it. That's she's on the same planet that I'm on. That's my sister.
Right, right.
Her parents are my parents. I probably have only talked to her twice since last year. I only met her last year, but she's still in the humanity of the same physical space that I'm in. I don't have to see her every day to feel for her.
Right.
Just because my life wasn't impacted by COVID the way that hers was, humanity means that as my fellow human being person that's living in this space with me, I still feel for her. So we have to be mindful of one another. Just
Yeah.
because you getting up going every day, you got a job 8 to 5, you flying here, you doing your thing. We still have to be mindful of those who are impacted by COVID,
Mm.
have been impacted, and those who have lost family members to
Yes.
COVID.
Yes.
Because we're part of mankind, we're part of humankind, and we still have to support each other as best as we can, whether we're related to the person or not.
I like that. I definitely like that. Now, Doula by Destiny.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
That's my baby.
I know. You know we was gonna bring it up. Doula by Destiny. I was like, I need to make sure I get this right. And then it flipped. I'm like, no, I gotta go back in and erase. This is not what this is what I put in. So those that know me, I struggle with doing that. It's like I didn't know I was dyslexic. I really,
That's okay. Now
you know,
to keep on working.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. I was like, I know I put that in there, and then I put it up there. Like, no, that's not right. I'm like, I know I didn't. No, I didn't. Mm. You know,
That's all right.
no, Dude by Destiny. Let's talk a little bit about that. That's your baby.
So yeah, I told you I birthed that in 2016. And Doula by Destiny, I told you how I came up with the name. The services, my niche is advanced care planning. When I first founded on Doula by Destiny, I really thought I was going to be sitting at the bedside,
Mm.
like the normal doula, end of life doula expects. But my niche is advanced care planning, education. I told you I was an educator for Anelda, educating. And I've just followed my path, and my path has led me to educating. I'm here on your podcast talking about an end of life doula. I have other podcasts that I have been on. I first contracted with a nonprofit company here in Howard County. They had me do 1 year or a year and a half of advanced care planning through a library. So I was educating on advanced care planning. I have something coming up in June where I will be educating the 50 plus community at a 50 plus care center here. And so I'm doing a lot. So my niche is advanced care planning and educating the community and partnering with organizations who want me to educate about the role of an end of life doula. Anyone who wants to train to be an end of life doula, I refer them to various training organizations like ANELDA, doula givers. There are other organizations out there that train to be an end of life doula. Now, if someone wants to become a end of life doula who wants to know how to start their business as an end of life doula, I'm your girl. You can find that service on my website. I do mentoring to become a private practicing end of life doula, but my niche is advanced care planning and education. If someone wants to have me as an end of life doula in my surrounding area, I am in Howard County, Columbia, Maryland. I only go out 20 miles away from my prospective home to support those at the end of life. I also can support caregivers with respite care, but I stay in my lane. And as if there's anyone here that is looking to be an end of life doula, the field is so wide. If this is your first year, you are going to get distracted. Be prepared to be distracted. But once you get distracted and realize you can't do everything, get focused, find what your niche is, perfect that niche, and go out and serve the audience that needs you, need that niche that you are providing. But there's a lot of ways that you can get distracted as an end of life doula. You have to basically decide what you're going to do.
Mm. I love that, and we will talk more about that outside of the podcast because I love that you brought that up, and I don't know why I didn't think about it before, but I'm saying there's some great opportunity there, and that we should definitely take advantage of.
Yeah.
Now, where can people find you?
My website is at the bottom of my screen here, www.doulabydestiny.com. My phone number 410-921-0105. I will be on Tony's speaking at Tony's grief conference April the 30th, 8 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time, 10 o'clock p.m. my time. I am the last speaker. Come in and join us. I'm looking forward to it. But you can Google my name, Valoria Walker. You can Google Doula by Destiny. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. I have 2 or 3 Facebook accounts. I'm on IG with Instagram. Tony's been twisting my arm trying to get me on TikTok. Haven't jumped on that platform yet, but like I said, I try not to stretch, but so much I stay in my lane. Eventually, TikTok will be around for a minute, so I'll get on it eventually.
See, what she don't understand is that we go TikTok it all the way down the little golden brick road. You know what I'm saying? Because when she gets up there, I'm like, look, we got to get you up to 1,000, and we're gonna be doing lives all the. Y'all already know how this works. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be doing lives all the time. We're gonna be prank calling people. Probably. We're gonna throw that in there anyway, even if we don't do it.
We're gonna do some nephew Tommy stuff on Steve Harvey with the prank call.
It's gonna be like the commercial. I'm gonna be up there with the Nerf gun, but like, I know she did just call me a duty head. It's gonna be bad. Y'all gotta understand this thing goes way deep. Okay, y'all already know she's from Newport News, Virginia. Hey, I'm not making this stuff up. She's she's trying to play innocent right now. I'm telling you right now. I already know. Okay,
I'm walking beside you. I'm gonna walk beside you. I'm open to all opportunities.
Yeah, y'all hear this? Y'all heard it? She walking beside me, but she got a little mini Nerf gun in her left hand while she walking beside me. I know what she's doing.
Look, my mom.
I told you.
My mom always told me to have a plan B.
See,
and
that's what I'm talking about.
And a plan D, E, and F, just in case.
You know what? I'm not even messing with you no more. Not even messing with you no more. And with that being said, thank you for being on the show today, man. I had a blast. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for having fun with me, and everything else. Leave an audience with some inspiring words.
Stay focused. Stay motivated. You were created in this space and time to do what you was created to do. Tap into that energy. Don't doubt yourself. You have absolutely everything you need for what you was created for. You don't have to be perfect. Don't allow fear to stop you from moving in your destiny. Don't
Mhm.
allow challenges, because challenges are there for you to grow. Accept them, learn what you need to learn from them, move to the next challenge. You are successful, you are prosperous, you are the divine person that needs to be here for what it is that you need to be here for. So just simply do it.
I
That's
love that.
it.
Just simply do it. I love it, man. I love it. Well, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you, my brother. Love you. Take care of yourself.
Always, girl. We talk a little bit more, like I said, And for those who have tuned in today, thank you for tuning in. Um, be sure to, if you want to support the channel, go ahead to the YouTube channel, look up Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. Give us subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think, right? But also share with other people, because we got a lot of great things coming down the line. And just remember, this is for educational purposes only. So if you enjoy stories like that, go ahead and check out the rest of them. Let us know what you think. We love you guys. And as always, thank you for allowing us to support you. And be sure to get in contact with Val, man. She has a lot of great things coming up. Check out her other podcast that she has been on as well, right? But she does some educational stuff. So you really want to make sure that you guys get in contact with her. And as always, thank you for allowing us to support you. I am Tony Lynch, your host, and I have nothing but love for every last one of you guys. And we are out.
Out.
Oh, I gotta.